Hello and welcome back, friends. My name is Michael Yates. This is the Ridgeview Pod, where we try to cover everything hope, healing, and recovery related, and hopefully the battery will not die on us this time. Our previous guest, Brennan Moreau, we got stopped at 4 minutes and 7 seconds. So hopefully that is fixed. We appreciate you being with us. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell so that you get notification of our next episode. And my guest today is a returning guest, Jonathon Hash. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, sir. Last time I was very much, I don't know what to do with my hands. And then I had all my team watch the last video, and I'm like, I can't watch this. You know how you can't like listen to yourself or watch yourself. So they were all gathered around watching it, and I just had to leave the room.
No.
So now I'm like, do I sit like this?
Right.
I don't.
Yes.
So if I get very fidgety, that's why.
Got it.
For the next 4 minutes and 7 seconds.
Well, I'm glad you were brave enough to share it with your teammates. That's good. Sure. Hopefully you guys are watching this episode too. So first, man, you're wearing the 5K shirt. I've got mine on from this year.
I think this one was from 2022.
Yeah, awesome.
And then I've got the last 3-4.
Yeah.
So, and it's been a different route for me every year.
Yeah.
This year we did Melton Hill, which I used to run at a little bit. And then I've kind of discovered more of the path that they have there. So.
Yeah. It was cool to move the event into September to be in alignment with National Suicide Awareness, Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, which I think is actually kind of tapped into another group of people that can see it as a way to pay witness to their loss or someone who may be struggling with suicide.
Right. It kind of goes in line with like the Race for Hope or for cancer, breast cancer awareness.
That's right.
So, yeah.
And the turnout was much larger. So, yeah, appreciate you being there.
Absolutely. I had not run in a very long time. So I wasn't sure how I was going to do, and I kept up with people that placed in their age group for about half the race, and then I was just like, I got to slow down. So
next year, you're going for it. No, and if we always like to remind folks there is a sleep-in option. So if you like the shirts and you want to support the cause, people can always register as a sleep-in participant. So that they can still support us, support the reason behind the event, but not have to worry about getting up early and getting a heart rate of 160 going.
I've been there.
Well, it's been a minute since you've been on the podcast, and I'm still trying to get the rhythm back to doing these more often, but I came across something that I've recently integrated into some community presentations that I wanted to share with you and get your thoughts on, because I think it's a neat concept, and I think it actually aligns a lot with what you guys do in the substance use programming with STOP and MIST, and this is from. So it's from Thomas Insel, and he was the chief, the former director of the National Institute of Mental Health. And when he left that position, he wrote this book called Healing: Our Path from Mental Illness to Mental Health. And what struck me about this, and I've actually begun to integrate these concepts into lots of different things in my life, but what stood out was this one piece. So he talks about, certainly he's an advocate of current treatments, and that treatments do work. So whether it's therapy or med management, substance use treatment programming, psych ed group work, all that stuff works. But alone, there's another constellation of things that can really help hasten one's recovery and one's growth and recovery. And he talks about people, place, and purpose, and how important those are as factors to go alongside treatment. In other words, finding people for support, having a place or sanctuary to heal, and discovering a purpose or mission. And then I love this piece here. People with mental illness are easy to ignore until they become a loved one, a neighbor, a coworker. But I use the pronoun they conditionally, for there are only two kinds of families in America: those who are struggling with a mental illness and those who are not struggling with a mental illness yet. To ensure that we serve all families well, we don't necessarily need to know more to do better. We simply need to find the will and the way to deliver people, place, and purpose. So I thought, using that as a launching pad, especially in STOP, which is kind of your home programming, I've been part of when you've invited your groups out to the tower, and there's a level of engagement that is it's not a strict treatment regimen or protocol or curriculum that we're going through. It's people being in a place, engaged in this common activity, fun, challenging. Do you see in the people that you are helping on their recovery journey, how important do you see those factors, people, place, and purpose in their life?
A lot, actually. I tell them when I'm first meeting a client, I always ask the question, well, what are you doing for fun? And 9 times out of 10, I'm getting, nothing. I don't have any fun. I don't have time for fun. And I have to explain, well, it actually is kind of important for your recovery. I think since the last time I was on the podcast, we didn't have peer support specialists at the time. And now we have designated people that are organizing events and activities for that sense of community and for that support. And it's all in through our recovery groups, so that people are finding basically that there is genuine happiness, and just it's not just like a false feeling. It's just, this is real, and this is what I've been trying to really get to ultimately. I think my boss Melody talks about Rat Park a lot, which is this documentary about rats that were addicted to opiates, and how they rehabilitated them. And they found that if rats had something to do and had groups of other rats together, they were more likely to stop taking the substance. As they were just like left to their own devices, they would just go to that because that's what felt good. So.
Yeah, I mean that concept that we're hardwired for connection with other people, and that that we need one another, and how important that is. And I see it nested, so not just in your program, but then in your team. When I've had the good fortune of being in this very space with Melody and your colleagues, and it's neat to pay witness to the esprit de corps that exists within, and it's not all business. It's not all job specific stuff. It's people just connecting and learning about one another, and honoring one another, that I think is really neat to see.
Yeah, that's been great. They when we did like our review survey, a lot of people said, I just want more team building. I want more time with my team. And we said, well, let's make this a thing once a month. And so one of the things we've been doing is just like we get like these murder mystery boxes, and we see if we can just all get together and solve this murder mystery. We've had just like potlucks, and we're trying to arrange another one of those climbing tower days.
Yeah.
And it's just being able just to connect, and
Yeah.
it's like, so our team has to connect too to
Yeah.
provide for people that are seeking connection as well.
And that there is the connection for me, is to do these things for our clients, for the people that come to Ridgeview seeking help on their journey of recovery. We can do that so much better if we're doing it ourselves. And then Ridgeview as a whole, it's been really neat. This year our mission statement was edited, condensed, but it now begins with where people are priority. And what I love about that is it's not where people who are clients are a priority, where people who are patients in our inpatient unit are a priority. It's people. So it's everyone. It's the people seeking our care and treatment. It's us. It's the community that we've not engaged with yet or may still not know that we exist. I think that's really neat. The other, you probably know this stuff a whole lot better than I do, but SAMHSA has this whole framework for recovery, and I got to looking at it, and they break it into 4 dimensions that support a life in recovery. And what struck me was one of those dimensions is health, but those other 3, listen to these 3. One is a home. In other words, a place. The third dimension is a purpose, meaningful daily, things that get you up and out of the door, get you out of bed in the morning. I mean, that basic sort of purpose. And then the 4th dimension is community. In other words, people. So there in the basic framework for recovery are place, people, and purpose. So I don't know, it has resonated with me so much, and I think about it all the time. I even wrote an op-ed about it that was published in the Oak Ridger a couple of months ago. Maybe it was during National Mental Health Awareness Month. I can't remember. Mild cortical atrophy, it happens at my age. But I think it's a really cool concept, and for our listeners, I encourage you to think about how people, place, and purpose may exist in your life, or maybe think about ways in which you can strengthen and develop, nurture those aspects, because it's part of your overall health and wellness, as important as anything else, including treatment and what have you. Anything?
If I can touch on the purpose section.
Please.
So I'm reminded of Pixar came out with the movie Soul a couple of years ago. And the whole concept of the movie is this guy feels like his purpose is to play music. That's his passion. That's what he's in the world for. And he has an untimely death, and his soul is in the afterlife, and he's trying to find a way to get back so he can go play his music. And they find that all the other souls are looking for their spark, for what gives them a passion or purpose. And so throughout the story, ultimately, he finds that it's not just my purpose isn't just to play music. My purpose has been just interacting with people, or just trying out new foods, or just experiencing life. And so even the other soul elders are just oh, you think it's all about a job? You're so silly. So I just think that's a really good concept, and it's to put it in a younger kids movie. It kind of is good for the community to get that message out at a younger age. It's so if you're talking about purpose and you're wondering what's my purpose, and it doesn't have to be a career. It doesn't have to be something. It might just be how you interact with people. It might be your role in connecting with a friend or family member.
I love that. That's a great illustration of how, and what you just said made me think. A couple of months ago, I was at an ASAP coalition meeting, and the new executive director, Shayla, she asked folks to write on a sticky note, your why, and put it up on the dry erase board. I can't remember if it was at the beginning or the end of the meeting, and I'm like, oh my God, my why. At this moment, at this time, what is my why? In other words, what's my purpose? So I wrote this thing down and put it up there, and the only thing that could come to my mind at the time was I got to thinking of, oh gosh, the author of The Mask of a Thousand. He's into mythology. Joseph Campbell.
Okay.
Yes, Joseph Campbell. Another brain issue.
We would have got there.
Right. Yeah, provided the battery didn't work.
I still see lights, so I think we're okay.
So I wrote on there something that I heard him say years ago, or I read years ago. The key is to participate joyfully in the sorrows of the world. So that's what I wrote on that sticky note. My why is to participate joyfully in the sorrows of the world. Now, in one way, you could say, "My gosh, that is very depressing." What a, But on the other hand,
that's not what I got. No, that says you want to bring a light to dark things.
Yeah, and it does. I guess again, I invite our listeners to think about, in this moment, in this time, what would be your purpose? What if you had to write on that sticky note your why? What would it be? And it's, you're not ever bound to it for eternity, but in this moment, at this time, what is your why?
That's a tough one. The first thing that comes to mind is just the word adventure.
Yeah. I think one of our last podcasts, you talked about the places you've traveled, mm-hmm. and so I can see how adventure would fit into that. Well, can you, in the spirit of getting to know one another better, do you mind if I ask you a few rapid fire questions?
Let's do it.
All right. Now, I can't remember how many of these I may have asked you before, but it's been a minute. So,
okay.
And I think you heard some of these when I was asking my previous guest. So, Jonathan, mm-hmm. if you could travel back in time, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Oh gosh. Just like a general get out more. There are so many things that you're missing that you're gonna find in your 20s and 30s that you can be doing these things now. So just go get into them. You don't have to be confined to one hobby.
So be more adventurous?
Yes.
All right, which is your calling today. All right, very good. Are you, would you say early bird or night owl?
So I will say I have changed since 18. In my 18 to 27, 8-ish, I was more of a night owl, but now I'm very much an early bird. I'm usually awake by 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So 8 or 9 is really sleeping in for me. So,
all
right. My old roommate said, he's like, you're a really good roommate. My only problem is you're very chipper in the morning.
Wow, of all the, I've got to lean into the day. So don't bring your joy on too quickly. All right. What decade of music is best?
I'm an 80s fan.
So give me an example.
Broad, I say a broad spectrum of 80s. I like 80s rock. I like 70s rock too. So 70s, 80s rock. So I say Bon Jovi.
Okay.
Is a lot of the power ballad, oh gosh, when someone asks you your favorite song, you forget every song you've ever known ever. I'm an 80s fan. I'd say anywhere 70s, 80s, 90s, kind of all that. I like, it depends on what I'm feeling. My playlists vary. I have like my 90s electronic dance station. I have my like 70s rock, like with Boston and then David Bowie. That's more. I think that's more 80s. I think that's kind of like right in the middle there. Queen. And then sometimes I'm just into some like early 2000s like girly pop music. So
well, you mentioned Bon Jovi at the start. Did you hear that Ricky Sambora gave Bon Jovi the green light to bring the band back together?
Oh, I haven't heard that. No. So.
Hot off the press there, you know. So, greatest movie of all time?
For me personally, it's the movie Big Fish. Just because.
Love that one, man. That is awesome.
Just because it holds a special place for me with me and my grandfather used to watch it a lot.
Yeah.
So. Yes. I wanted to say like the original Star Wars too, because that's just that's my fandom.
Yeah.
So even it's been messy the last few years with it, but
yeah. My brother was the one that turned me on to Big Fish, and I still, to this day, I cannot watch that scene where he's carrying his and all those people are lined up. I mean, look at the hair on.
Oh yeah. Like that's real.
I'll start crying. I'll start crying right now.
I might too.
Yeah. One book that you would recommend?
I've been reading, Brandon Sanderson seems to be the popular author right now in the fantasy world. I just finished the first Mistborn.
Okay.
And it's been the best thing I've read in a long time.
Wow.
Probably my favorite book is The Starless Sea by Aaron Morgenstern. And it's just kind of like, if you love to read, this is the book about stories.
Cool. I'm not familiar with those, so I'll have to look them up. And then finally, what is your karaoke go-to song?
Okay, it used to be Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind.
Oh.
And then me and my same roommate, we used to do Run DMC, It's Tricky, together, and it just killed at the karaoke bar. So
Awesome. Well, I would ask you to, give us a couple.
So I've been really sick the last few days, and you can probably hear it in my voice. I just don't know if I'm up for singing right now, Michael.
All right, next time.
Okay.
Next time.
All right. Well, we got to do it together, so we'll get the lyrics to It's Tricky. So.
Ooh, okay, we may have to change the plan on that now. All right. Well, Jonathon, thank you so much. My offer is out to you. You want to, trade places? You come in and host a pod, a topic of your choice.
I could do that.
Love to have you. And thank you, folks, for tuning in. We always appreciate you taking time out to spend with us. Please don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell so that you get notification of our latest episode. Follow us on Facebook. Appreciate you coming in, Jonathon.
Thanks
Let's do it again. And thank you. Take good care. Bye-bye.